The council laughed at Earth. Until the attack report arrived, Jack Frost stood rigid in the center of the Galactic Council chamber, sweat beading on his forehead despite the room's cool temperature. 7 alien representatives stared down at him from their elevated platforms, their faces showing various forms of boredom and disdain. "You expect us to believe humans are ready for membership?" The Centaurian delegate's voice boomed through the chamber. "Your species barely left its own moon." Jack cleared his throat. "Earth has made significant technological advances in the past decade. Our quantum computing network, primitive," interrupted the Proximan delegate, her translucent skin pulsing with blue light. "We developed similar systems 10,000 years ago." Laughter rippled through the chamber. Jack's hands clenched behind his back, knuckles white. The council president, a tall being with gray skin and 6 eyes, raised a hand for silence. "The council has reviewed Earth's application and reached a decision." Jack straightened his shoulders, trying to project confidence he didn't feel. "Earth is classified as a pre-FTL curiosity. Your application for membership is denied." The president's voice was flat, final. "You may reapply in 500 years." More laughter. Jack bit his tongue until he tasted blood. "We will assign a monitoring post near your system," the president continued. "For your protection, of course." Jack nodded stiffly. "Earth thanks the council for its consideration." The meeting ended. Jack was escorted back to the human shuttle, a boxy transport that looked like a child's toy next to the sleek council vessels. "They always act like that," his pilot said as they departed. "Been that way for centuries." Jack stared out the viewport at the massive council station, shrinking behind them. "One day they'll regret it." 3 weeks later, Jack sat in the Pentagon's crisis room. Screens covered the walls, most showing static or emergency signals. General Rivera paced the room. "We lost contact with the lunar base an hour ago." Mars outpost went dark 10 minutes later. "What about the deep space satellites?" Jack asked. "Going dark one by one." Rivera pointed to a screen showing a map of the solar system. Red dots blinked out in sequence, moving inward from Neptune. "Council attack?" someone asked. Jack shook his head. "Not their style. They think we're harmless pets." A lieutenant burst through the door. "Sir, unknown vessels entering Earth atmosphere." "Hundreds of them." Rivera grabbed a secure phone. "Activate Sentinel Protocol. Authorization code Bravo Echo 97. Jack felt the floor vibrate. Beneath the Pentagon, hidden machinery hummed to life. "What's happening?" he asked. Rivera's face was grim. "Something we prepared for." The council wasn't the only alien power we detected. Alarms blared. The main screen switched to a live feed from Washington. Dark ships with jagged edges descended through clouds. Green beams sliced through buildings. The Washington Monument crumbled. "Those aren't council ships," Jack whispered. "No." Rivera handed him a tablet showing a classified file. "We've been tracking them for years. They appear at the edges of systems, then planets go dark." Jack scanned the document, his blood running cold. "Why didn't we tell the council? Would they have believed us?" Rivera asked as the building shook. "They laughed at our application. Would they have taken our warning seriously?" The lights flickered. Emergency generators kicked in. "Sir," a technician called out. "Defense grid is online. First countermeasures deploying." Jack watched as hidden missile batteries emerged from the Potomac River, firing at the alien ships. One exploded in a ball of flame. "They didn't expect resistance," Rivera said with grim satisfaction. Jack's secure communicator buzzed. The message made his stomach drop. "The council monitoring post just sent an emergency signal," he said. "They're watching the attack." "Good," Rivera replied. "Let them watch what happens when you underestimate Earth." The council president slammed his fist on the table as the emergency transmission played. The holographic display showed Earth cities burning, strange ships cutting through skyscrapers with energy weapons. "What are we seeing?" demanded the Proximan delegate. The intelligence officer, a small green being with 4 arms, manipulated the controls. The monitoring post captured this footage 12 Earth hours ago. The attackers match no known signature in our database. Irrelevant, said the Centaurian delegate with a dismissive wave. Pre-FTL worlds face internal conflicts regularly. This is likely a civil war. The president leaned forward, 6 eyes narrowing. Those are not human ships. Send junior diplomat Krell to investigate, a Proximan suggested. No need to waste senior resources on a primitive world's problems. The council voted quickly, 7-0. Case dismissed. Jack Frost crawled through the rubble of what had been the Lincoln Memorial. Blood trickled from a cut on his forehead. The sky above Washington burned orange and black, filled with smoke and the silhouettes of alien ships. His communicator crackled. Frost, get to the secondary command center. Now. He sprinted across the National Mall, ducking as energy beams sliced through the air. A military transport hovered behind a collapsed building. The side door opened. Get in, shouted the driver. The transport shot forward, weaving between burning vehicles and craters. Jack held onto a ceiling strap as they swerved violently. The Atlantic defense grid is online, the driver reported. General Rivera activated all sectors. Jack nodded. About time. The transport descended into an underground tunnel. Steel doors sealed behind them. They emerged into a vast chamber carved beneath the Appalachian Mountains. Hundreds of military personnel worked at glowing stations. A massive screen showed the battle raging across Earth. General Rivera stood at the central platform. Frost, good. You're needed for the briefing. Jack joined him at the command table. A 3D map showed red dots swarming Earth, with blue points lighting up across oceans. The underwater platforms are operational, Rivera said. First counterattack begins in 3 minutes. Jack watched as the map zoomed in on the Atlantic. Massive structures rose from the ocean floor, breaking the surface in geysers of water. Missile batteries and energy cannons emerged, immediately firing at the alien ships. 3 enemy vessels exploded. The others scattered, clearly surprised. They didn't expect this, Jack said. Rivera nodded. We've kept these defense systems hidden for 15 years. Not even the council knew. A lieutenant approached. Sir, we have a council ship entering orbit. Small diplomatic vessel. Let them through, Jack said. I want to see their faces when they realize what's happening. The bunker shook as distant explosions rocked the mountain. Dust fell from the ceiling. Incoming transmission, called a communications officer. It's the council ship. The main screen switched to show a young alien face. Junior diplomat Krell looked terrified. This is the Galactic Council. We are observing unusual activity around Earth. Please explain. Jack stepped forward. This is Ambassador Frost. We are under attack by an unknown force. The same force we detected at the edge of our system years ago. Krell's eyes widened. Years? You knew about alien presence before official contact? We've known about aliens for decades, Jack said coldly. We've been preparing while your council laughed at us. The bunker shook again, harder this time. Warning lights flashed. Sir? A sensor operator called out. We've identified the attackers. Matching ancient records from our deep space scans, the screen showed a jagged black ship. Data scrolled beside it. Rivera read it and went pale. Void Reapers. The planet killers. Krell gasped. Impossible. They were extinct. The council records say, your records are wrong, Jack interrupted. And now Earth is fighting the enemy you thought was gone. The screen suddenly filled with static as a massive explosion rocked the bunker. Emergency lights switched on. They found us, Rivera whispered. The Galactic Council chamber erupted in chaos. Delegates shouted over each other as junior diplomat Krell's report played on the main screen. The footage showed Earth's hidden defense platforms rising from oceans and mountains, firing advanced weapons at the attacking ships. Impossible, the Centaurian delegate sputtered. They are pre-tall. The council scientist, a tall being with translucent skin, stepped forward. The report confirms it. Humans have destroyed 17 Void Reaper vessels in the first wave. How? Demanded the president. Adaptability, the scientist replied, displaying data charts. Humans reverse-engineered technology from crashed scout ships decades ago. They kept this hidden, even from our monitoring posts. The Proximan delegate pounded her fist. This changes nothing. The Void Reapers are a minor threat, extinct for millennia. The chamber doors burst open. A security officer rushed in. New report from Earth Sector. A Void Reaper mothership has entered the system. Silence fell across the chamber. How large? The president asked quietly. The security officer swallowed hard. Planet-sized. Jack Frost strapped himself into the pilot seat of the emergency shuttle. The bunker collapsed behind them as they shot through the escape tunnel. General Rivera sat beside him, blood seeping through a bandage on his arm. Status report, Rivera barked into his communicator. Atlantic grid at 40% capacity, came the response. Pacific grid holding at 65%. European defenses overwhelmed. Jack guided the shuttle higher, breaking through clouds into the upper atmosphere. The view below made his stomach turn. Fires burned across continents. The alien ships swarmed like black insects. New contact, Rivera said, checking the radar. Massive object entering the system past Mars orbit. Jack adjusted course toward the secret lunar base. How massive? Bigger than anything we've ever seen. The shuttle's communication system crackled. Ambassador Frost, this is Junior Diplomat Krell. The Council has reviewed my report. And? Jack asked, dodging debris from a destroyed satellite. They voted against intervention. They fear drawing the Reaper's attention to Council space. Jack slammed his fist against the control panel. Cowards! Rivera touched his arm. We still have Project Prometheus. That's experimental, Jack argued. The scientist said it might tear a hole in space-time. We're out of options. Rivera's face was grim in the red emergency lights. The shuttle docked at the hidden lunar facility, a complex buried beneath the moon's surface. They rushed through steel corridors filled with frantic personnel. Warning sirens blared continuously. Dr. Lena Ward met them at the control center. Her lab coat was stained with coffee, her eyes red from lack of sleep. The Prometheus device is ready, she said without greeting. But the calculations are still uncertain. The main screen showed Earth, beautiful blue and green, with black ships surrounding it like a swarm of locusts. A massive mothership appeared at the edge of the display, dwarfing everything around it. We need to get to the Council, Jack said suddenly. Make them help us. They already refused, Rivera reminded him. They don't understand what's coming. Jack turned to Dr. Ward. How long can Earth hold out? She checked her tablet. At current rates of attack, global defenses will fail within 24 hours. Jack made his decision. Prepare my diplomatic vessel. I'm going to the Council directly. And Prometheus? Rivera asked. Activated if I'm not back in 12 hours. The facility shook violently. Dust and sparks fell from the ceiling. They found us, Dr. Ward whispered. The main screen showed Void Reaper ships descending toward the lunar surface, their weapons charging. Get to your ship, Rivera ordered Jack. We'll hold them off. Jack ran toward the hangar as the first explosions rocked the base. Behind him, he heard Rivera giving the order that might doom them all. Initiate Project Prometheus. Authorization code, Omega. Jack's diplomatic vessel shot through space, engines straining at maximum power. He gripped the controls as the ship shuddered. Behind him, the moon grew smaller, its surface now marked with explosions as Void Reaper ships bombarded the lunar base. His communication panel lit up. Rivera's face appeared, partially obscured by smoke. Prometheus is active, the general said, coughing. 30 minutes to full power. What's the plan? Jack asked. We're creating an artificial wormhole in Earth orbit. If we can lure enough Reaper ships near it. The transmission cut off as an explosion rocked the lunar base. Jack tried to re-establish contact, but got only static. He pushed the engines harder. The stars blurred as the ship accelerated toward the council station. The council chamber doors flew open. Jack Frost stormed in, his uniform torn and dirty, blood dried on his face. Guards moved to stop him, but the council president waved them back. Ambassador Frost, the president said coolly. This is an unscheduled appearance. Jack marched to the center of the chamber. Earth is falling. The Void Reapers have breached our outer defenses. The Centaurian delegate shrugged. Regrettable, but not our concern. Jack pulled a data chip from his pocket and slammed it onto the central console. This is from our archives. Recovered from a crashed scout ship 15 years ago. The holographic display activated. Ancient star charts appeared, showing Void Reaper movements across the galaxy. The final image showed the Council homeworlds marked as targets. You knew, Jack said, his voice shaking with rage. You knew they were coming back. You knew Earth was in their path. The chamber fell silent. We suspected, the president admitted finally. But the evidence was inconclusive. You left us to die, Jack said. To be your early warning system. The Proximan delegate stood. The sacrifice of one primitive world to save billions of advanced beings is logical. Jack laughed bitterly. Then you'll be interested in our response. Project Prometheus. He activated his personal communicator. The display showed a massive device on the lunar surface, pulsing with blue energy. Around Earth, Void Reaper ships converged on the remaining human defense platforms. What is this? The president asked. A wormhole generator, Jack said, designed to create a temporary rupture in space-time. The council scientist gasped. That technology is theoretical. It could collapse your entire solar system. We know the risks, Jack replied coldly. On the lunar surface, Dr. Ward worked frantically at the Prometheus control panel. The base shook continuously as Reaper weapons pounded the surface. Energy levels at 90%, she reported. Rivera nodded, holding a bleeding wound on his side. Target locked on Sector 7. That's where the Reaper fleet is concentrated. The massive device hummed louder, the sound vibrating through the base. Warning lights flashed across every console. System overload imminent, a computerized voice announced. Hold it together, Rivera ordered. Just a few more seconds. Dr. Ward's fingers flew across the controls. Initiating final sequence. The Prometheus device fired a beam of intense blue energy toward Earth. The beam struck the space between Earth and the Moon, where hundreds of Void Reaper ships clustered. Space itself seemed to tear open. A swirling vortex formed, growing larger by the second. The nearest Reaper ships were pulled toward it, unable to escape the gravitational force. It's working, Dr. Ward shouted over the alarms. The wormhole expanded, swallowing Reaper ships by the dozen. The mothership fired massive energy weapons at the anomaly, trying to collapse it. Rivera watched the tactical display. Half the Reaper fleet is gone. Suddenly, the base computers flashed red. The Prometheus device began to crack, energy leaking from its core. Containment failing, Dr. Ward said, her face pale. We can't control it anymore. The wormhole pulsed, growing unstable. The lunar base began to break apart around them. Rivera grabbed the emergency transmitter. Frost, the wormhole is collapsing. Get the council to help now, or we're all dead. The council chamber erupted in chaos as Rivera's desperate message played. The holographic display showed the wormhole growing unstable, tearing apart the moon's surface. The Void Reapers are being destroyed, the council scientist said, pointing to the data. But the wormhole is becoming unstable. Jack grabbed the president's arm. Help us now, or watch the Reapers regroup and come for you next. The president hesitated, then nodded sharply. Emergency vote. Intervention in Earth sector. The vote passed 7-0. Deploy the battle fleet, the president ordered. All ships. Jack felt no triumph, only grim determination. I need a ship. The fastest you have. Jack piloted the council vessel toward the collapsing wormhole. Behind him, a fleet of 500 council warships emerged from hyperspace, their weapons already firing at the remaining Reaper vessels. His communication panel lit up. Dr. Ward's face appeared, half hidden by smoke and emergency lighting. The wormhole will collapse in minutes, she said. When it does, the energy release will destroy everything nearby. Can you stabilize it? Jack asked, pushing the ship's engines to maximum. Not from here. The control systems are damaged. She coughed, blood visible on her hand. Someone needs to manually adjust the core settings. Jack understood immediately. Send me the coordinates. Jack, it's a suicide mission. Just send them. The coordinates appeared on his navigation system. Jack adjusted course directly toward the heart of the wormhole. Council ships engaged the Void Reaper mothership, their combined firepower finally penetrating its shields. The massive vessel began to break apart, but not before launching one final ship, smaller, faster, heading straight for Earth. The Reaper Supreme Commander, Rivera's voice crackled through the communication system. If it reaches Earth, it can call for reinforcements. Jack changed course to intercept. His ship shuddered as he pushed it beyond safety limits. The Reaper command vessel loomed ahead, its jagged black hull absorbing the light around it. Jack opened all weapons systems and fired. The Reaper ship returned fire, hitting Jack's vessel. Warning alarms blared as systems failed throughout the ship. Engines damaged, the computer announced. Life support failing. Jack saw only one option. He aimed his crippled ship directly at the Reaper command vessel and engaged the emergency thrusters. For Earth, he whispered as his ship accelerated toward the enemy. The impact was blinding. Jack's ship tore through the Reaper vessel's hull, penetrating to its core. Both ships exploded in a ball of fire. The wormhole began to collapse, its energy pulling in the remaining Reaper ships. The Council fleet retreated to safe distance as the anomaly imploded with a flash visible across the solar system. 6 months later, General Rivera stood on a hill overlooking what remained of Washington, D.C. construction crews worked to clear rubble and rebuild. The sky was clear for the first time since the attack. A council shuttle landed nearby. The president emerged, flanked by guards. General, the president greeted him. The council has voted to establish a permanent embassy on Earth. Rivera nodded. And our status? Full membership, the president said. Earth has proven itself beyond question. The president held out a medal. This is for Ambassador Frost, our highest honor. Rivera took the medal but didn't smile. I'll place it at the memorial with the others. They walked to a simple stone monument, listing the names of the billions lost. Jack Frost's name was at the top. We found something in the wreckage of the Reaper command ship, the president said quietly. Star maps, coordinates. To what? Rivera asked. Their homeworld. Deep in the galactic core, the president's 6 eyes looked troubled. They were just the advance force. Rivera stared at the horizon where new defense platforms were being constructed. Then we better get ready, he said. They won't laugh at us next time?